Week 3 of the fantasy baseball season, and here's a few pitchers I would drop this week. I know it's early in the season, and some fantasy plays up on players early in the year, but at some point you have to, especially if you're off to a slow start this season. So here's a few pitchers I would drop. The first guy, Brady Singer of the Kansas City Royals. So Singer last season, he was one of the better on this Kansas City Royals staff with Singer, but so far this season we haven't seen much out of him. On the year, 16 innings, 1-1 record, 15 strikeouts, a 7.88 ERA, and a 1.44 whip on the season here for Brady Singer. Singer last season, like I said, 10-5 with a 3.23 ERA. Great season for him, no doubt about it, especially on a ball club that doesn't score many runs and didn't win a total amount of games last season. But right now he's been struggling as Singer. Still owned in 76% of fantasy leagues, but he has been dropped in 4% of fantasy leagues over the last couple weeks here. And the first few games of the season here for him, April 3rd versus the Blue Jays. 5 innings in that one, got the win. 2 hits, a run, 3 walks, 3 Ks. April 8th at San Francisco Giants. 6 innings in that one, no decision. 8 hits, 5 runs, 4 Ks in that ball game. And April 14th versus the Braves, another bad outing. 5 innings, got the loss, 10 hits, 8 runs, 8 Ks. He got lit up in that one. So right now, like I said, he's on a team that's not going to give him much run support. And so far, it's been a struggle for him, even though the Royals are 2-1 in the ball games he started so far. But with an ERA ballooned way up there in the early going here for Singer, he's not a guy right now I really would want on my fantasy roster in the early going. No doubt about it, he could turn things around, but right now he's not going deep into games. And he's been bombed 2 out of 3 outings, so he's a starter I would drop this week. Next guy's Carlos Carrasco of the New York Mets. I mentioned last week as a drop, and once again I'm going to recommend him as a drop on the season. 13 2/3, 0-2 record, 8 strikeouts, an 8.56 ERA, and a 1.61 whip. So it just hasn't been working out for Carrasco right here in his 3rd season with the New York Mets. We thought he would come into the year and have a pretty good season with Carlos Carrasco, but that obviously hasn't been the case so far in the first 3 outings of the season here for him. And this Met team's another team, believe it or not, they're not scoring that many runs early in the season. I know they had a couple blow-up games, a 17-run game the other day versus the Oakland A's, but for the most part, they were the worst batting average teams in the league. So the first few outings here for Carrasco, April 3rd at the Brewers. 4 innings, got the loss, 4 hits, 5 runs, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts in that one. April 9th versus the Marlins, 4 2/3, got the loss in that ball game. 6 hits, 6 runs, 3 walks, strikeout in that one. And April 15th at the A's, 5 innings, no decision in that ball game. 4 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 3 Ks. So right now he's not going deep into games. His velocity's gone down a little bit. His Carlos Carrasco. And his next outing's going to be a pretty tough one as well with the San Francisco Giants, who have some hitters and could do some damage, especially in their home ballpark. So right now, Carlos Carrasco is a pitcher I would drop. And like I said, it's been a struggle for him all season. And he's a guy to drop this week. Next guy, Scott Barlow of the Kansas City Royals. So right here, Scott Barlow, last season was a good year for him, but right now it looks like he might lose this closer job to Aroldis Chapman, who's turned things around so far in the early goings on the season here for Barlow. 5 2/3, 0-2 record on the year, a saved 6 Ks, a 6.35 ERA, and a 1.59 whip. So he's been getting lit up over the last couple outings here, 2 out of 3, where he's given up a lot of runs and taking the loss as well with Scott Barlow. So right now with Chapman breathing down his neck, Chapman with way more closer experience, obviously, in his major league career than Scott Barlow. I don't think I would hold on to Barlow. And like I mentioned a lot, if you watch the channel, closer is a crapshoot for the most part. And 8 to 10, at least closes per season, change on teams. The injuries or just poor performances. So right now, while Scott Barlow is not doing much and not performing for this Kansas City Royal team, he's a guy I would drop this week. And if Aroldis Chapman's out there and you need a closer, I would go out there and get him, because it looks like he could take over the full duties at that role any day now, the way Barlow is definitely struggling over the last few games. The next guy's Tyler Anderson, a Los Angeles Angels. So Tyler Anderson, we knew that he could have been a one-hit wonder with a monster season last season with the Dodgers. 15-5 with a 2.57 ERA. And so far this season, across town in Los Angeles with the Angels, 14 2/3, 1-0 record, 10 Ks, 6.75 ERA, a 1.84 whip, and a quality start. So right now, he got the big contract in the offseason. And last year, where you got a team like the Los Angeles Dodgers winning over 100 games, and you're going to get a lot of run support, it's going to be easy to pitch, and that's exactly what the case was for Tyler Anderson. Anderson, he's bounced around over the last few seasons as well with the Pirates, Seattle Mariners, last season with the Dodgers, and here with the Angels where he cashed in. And the first few outings for him on the season, April 2nd in Oakland, 6 innings, got the win. 4 hits in that one, no runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks. But let's be honest, this Oakland Athletic team is running guys out there that most people don't know. And it's a AA, AAA type of lineup they're putting out there. April 8th versus Blue Jays, 4 2/3, no decision. 7 hits, 5 runs, 2 walks, 4 Ks. And April 15th at the Red Sox, got bombed in that one. 4 innings, 8 hits, 6 runs, 4 walks, 2 Ks. So right now, Anderson, he's not going deep into games. He's been hit hard in the last 2 outings. And like I said, it could have been a one-year wonder with a lot of good things going his way over there in the Los Angeles Dodgers system last season. So right now, Anderson's struggling, and fantasy owners, they've lost patience with him as well, dropped in 11% of fantasy leagues. And right now, I would drop him as well. It just seems with whatever pitcher signs over there with the Angels, they just really can't get the job done and don't really hold fantasy value. And that's exactly been the case with Tyler Anderson so far, unfortunately. And the 5th and final pitcher I look to drop this week here, Manaea of the San Francisco Giants. So Manaea last season was a tough year for him last year with the San Diego Padres. And so far this season here hasn't been any better. 11 1/3, 0-0 record, 13 Ks, 4.76 ERA, a 1.15 whip, and a quality start. So Manaea, I think, after coming off that Tommy John a few seasons ago, and then with the Oakland A's, he had that great season after that. He might have blew his arm out. And we've seen it in the past with a few guys where they had a great season after Tommy John, and then that second year back from it, after going a long season and a lot of innings on their arm, they just fall apart. We saw it with Matt Harvey. He was never the same. And tons of guys throughout the years it's happened to. So on the season for Manaea, April 3rd at the White Sox, he only lasted 2 innings in that one. 2 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, a strikeout. April 8th, 9th bounce back, but versus a weak Kansas City Royal offense, 6 innings, no decision. 3 hits, a run, a walk, 8 Ks in that ball game, and a quality start. And April 14th at the Tigers, 3 1/3, he only lasted in that ball game. 4 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 4 Ks. So right now, Manaea is struggling mightily for the San Francisco Giant team. He's been dropped in 5% of fantasy leagues, and maybe he could find things once again like he did in his Oakland Athletic days. But like I said, over the last season plus now, it really hasn't been there for Manaea with a mid-4 ERA. It's a 5 pretty much, and he's not getting the job done. So he's a pitcher I would drop this week. So that's a few pitchers I look to drop here in week 3 of the fantasy baseball season.